Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Devrat Misra from Department of Physics and Astrophysics, University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about the module Optical Properties 4 from paper Electronic, Magnetic and Optical Properties of Materials. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. First we will see the dependence of conductivity on frequency. Then we will see the dependence of dielectric constant on the frequency. Then we will talk about behavior of a free electron in presence of a oscillating field, and finally we will see the optical properties of metals. Optical properties of metals. Free carrier absorption can be viewed as infrared absorption. The electron absorbing the photon remains in the same band. Free carrier absorption is obviously important for metals and is often of importance for semiconductors. The electron is accelerated by the photon and gains energy, but since the wave vector of the photon is negligible, something else such as a phonon needs to be involved. For many purposes, the process can be viewed classically by Rho theory with a relaxation time tau is equal to 1 by omega 0. This relaxation time defines a frictional force constant m star by tau, where the viscous like frictional force is proportional to the velocity. We will use classical theory here, but it is worthwhile to make a few comments. It is common to deal with a semi-classical picture of radiation. There we treat the radiation classically, but the underlying electronic systems that absorb and emit the radiation we treat quantum mechanically. Radiation can be treated classically when it is intense enough to have many photons in each mode. Free electronic systems can be treated classically when their de Broglie wavelengths are small compared to the average antiparticle separation. The de Broglie wavelength can be estimated from the momentum as estimated from equipartition. In practice, this means that for temperatures that are not too low and densities that are not too high, then classical mechanics should be valid. Bound systems are more complicated, but in general, classical mechanics works at higher quantum numbers, higher bound state energies. In any case, classical and quantum results often overlap in validity well beyond where one might naively expect. The classical theory can be written assuming a sinusoidal electric field E is equal to E0 exponential of minus I omega t. Note that these are for free electrons E is greater than 0 with damping. We also generalize by using an effective mass m star rather than m star x double dot, which is equal to d square x by dt square, plus m star by tau x dot is equal to minus e into capital E0 exponential of minus I omega tau. Seeking a steady state solution of the form x is equal to x0 into exponential of minus I omega tau, we find x is equal to minus I e capital E tau divided by m star into omega into 1 minus I omega tau. Thus, the polarization is given by P is equal to minus n E x, which is equal to epsilon minus epsilon L into capital E, where epsilon L is the contribution to the dielectric constant of everything except the free carriers. The frequency dependent dielectric constant is epsilon omega is equal to epsilon L plus I into n square tau by m star omega into 1 by 1 minus I omega tau, where n is the number of electrons per unit volume. From the real and imaginary parts of epsilon, we find epsilon r is equal to n square minus ni square, which is equal to epsilon L minus divided by epsilon 0 minus sigma 0 into tau by epsilon 0 whole divided by 1 plus omega square tau square. Sigma 0 is equal to n square n into e square tau divided by m star, and epsilon I is equal to 2n into ni, which is equal to sigma 0 divided by epsilon 0 into omega into 1 by 1 plus omega square tau square. It is convenient to write this in terms of the plasma frequency. Omega p square is equal to n square by m into epsilon 0, which is equal to sigma 0 divided by tau into epsilon 0, which is equal to sigma 0 omega 0 divided by epsilon 0, and so epsilon r is equal to epsilon l divided by epsilon 0 minus omega p square divided by omega 0 square plus omega square, and epsilon I is equal to omega 0 by omega into omega p square divided by omega 0 square plus omega square. From here onwards, for simplicity, we assume epsilon L is equivalent to epsilon 0. We have three important omega. The plasma frequency omega p is proportional to the free carrier concentration. Omega 0 measures the electron phonon coupling, and omega is the frequency of light. We now want to show what these equations predict in three different frequency regions. Omega tau is very less than 1, the low frequency region. We obtain by equation 8 with omega 0 is equal to 1 by tau. N square minus ni square is equal to 1 minus omega p square into tau square, which is small, and by equation 9 we have 2 into n into ni, which is equal to omega p square times tau by omega, which finally comes as omega p tau whole square divided by omega into tau, which is large. Here the imaginary part of the dielectric constant is much greater than the real part, and we have high reflectivity. In this approximation, n square minus ni square is equal to 1 minus omega into tau into 2n ni, which is equal to 1, but neither n nor ni are small, so n is equal to ni, and n square is equal to sigma 0 by 2 omega epsilon 0. The reflectivity then becomes r is equal to n minus 1 whole square plus ni square divided by n plus 1 square plus ni square, which is equal to 1 minus 2 by n, which is equivalent to 1 minus 2 into root over of 2 omega epsilon 0 by sigma 0. This is Hagen-Rubens relation. If 1 by tau is very less than omega, which is also very less than omega p, the relaxation region, the basic relations become n square minus ni square is equal to 1 minus omega p square by omega square, which is large and negative, and 2n ni is equal to omega p by omega whole square into 1 by omega into tau, which is smaller than n square minus ni square. However, this predicts the metal is still strongly reflecting, as we now show, since omega tau is very greater than 1 and omega p by omega is very greater than 1, we see n minus ni into n plus ni is equivalent to minus omega p by omega whole square, which is very less than 1, or ni minus n into n plus ni is equivalent to minus of omega p by omega whole square, which is greater than 1. Therefore, ni very greater than n, ni square is equal to omega p by omega square, and ni is equivalent to omega p by omega. Then 2n ni is equivalent to ni square by into 1 minus 1 by omega tau, from which r is equal to n minus 1 square plus ni square divided by n plus 1 whole square plus ni square, which is equal to 1 plus n minus 1 by ni whole square minus n plus 1 divided by ni whole square, and capital R is equal to 1 minus 4n divided by ni square is equal to 1 minus 2 by omega p into tau. Since omega p into tau is very greater than 1, the metal is still strongly reflecting. Case 3, omega p is very less than omega, or omega p by omega is very less than 1. This is the ultraviolet region where we also assume omega is very greater than omega 0. N square minus Ni square is equivalent to 1. So n minus Ni into n plus Ni is equal to 1. 2n Ni is equal to omega p by omega whole square into 1 by omega tau is very small. Both n and Ni are not very small, therefore Ni is very small. Therefore n for n very greater than Ni, n is equal to 1. Therefore Ni is equal to half into omega p by omega whole square into 1 by omega tau. R is equal to Ni square divided by Ni square plus 4, which is equal to Ni square by 4, which is equivalent to 1 by 16 omega p by omega to the power 4 into 1 by omega tau square is very small. There is little reflectance since this is the ultraviolet transparency region. Figure 1 shows the sketch of absorption and reflection in material. The plasma edge or the region around the plasma frequency deserves a little more attention. Using Maxwell's equations, we have curl of E is equal to minus del B by del T, where divergence of E is equal to divergence of B is equal to 0. And curl B is equal to mu 0 into del square D by del T square, and J is equal to 0. And we will include any charge motion in P. Therefore delta square E is equal to mu 0 del square D by del T square, and D is equal to epsilon 0 epsilon into E. Note that epsilon tends to epsilon by epsilon 0. Assume E is equal to E0 exponential of minus I omega t into exponential of I k dot r. We obtain as shown below for the wave vector. K square is equal to epsilon omega mu 0 epsilon 0 omega square, and kc whole square is equal to epsilon infinity into omega square minus omega p square. For a free electron in an electric field, we have already derived the plasma frequency. We give here an alternative simple derivation and bring out a few new features. M into d square x by dt square is equal to minus E into E, and x is equal to x0 exponential of minus I omega t. Capital E is equal to capital E0 exponential of minus I omega t, and where we put x is equal to small e into capital E divided by m omega square. Also P is equal to minus n capital N into E into x, which is equal to minus n square by m omega square into electric field E. Epsilon omega is equal to 1 plus p omega by epsilon 0 e omega, which is equal to 1 minus n square by m omega square into E. Omega p square is equal to n square divided by m omega square. Epsilon omega is equal to 1 minus omega p square by omega square. If the positive ion core background has a dielectric constant of epsilon infinity that is about constant, then equation 33 is modified as epsilon omega is equal to epsilon infinity into 1 minus omega p square by omega square, where omega p is equal to omega p divided by root over of epsilon infinity. When the frequency is less than the plasma frequency, the squared wave vector is negative and gives us total reflection. Above the plasma frequency, the wave vector squared is positive and material is transparent. That is, simple metals should reflect in the visible and be transparent in the ultraviolet. It is also good to remember that at the plasma frequency, the electrons undergo low frequency longitudinal oscillations. Specifically, note that setting epsilon omega is equal to 0 defines a frequency omega is equal to omega L corresponding to longitudinal plasma oscillations. We have epsilon omega is equal to 1 minus omega p square divided by omega square. So, epsilon omega becomes omega p. Here we have neglected the dielectric constant of the positive ion cores. The plasma frequency is also a free longitudinal oscillation. If we have a doped semiconductor with the plasma frequency less than the band gap over Planck's constant, one can detect the plasma edge as illustrated in figure 2.
Figure 2 shows a graph between 1 by reflectivity divided by wavelength. So it is divided into three frequency range. One is transparent high frequency range, one is plasma frequency range, and another is low frequency range. And the materials is for doped semiconductor. Material is for doped semiconductor. The graph is shown. Optical properties of free electrons. We use the equation of motion for the momentum we derived within the free electron model earlier in the presence of scattering. dp by dt is equal to minus E into E minus P by tau. We are looking for the steady state solution in the form Pt is equal to P into P of omega into exponential of minus I omega t. Substituting this equation into 38 yields the solution minus I omega into P, which is a function of omega, is equal to minus E into E omega minus P omega by tau. The current density J is equal to minus E into N into P by M. We find J omega is equal to Ne P omega by M, which is equal to N square tau into E omega divided by M into 1 minus I omega tau. The frequency dependent conductivity is therefore given by sigma omega is equal to sigma 0 by 1 minus I omega tau, where sigma 0 is equal to N E square tau by M is the drought DC conductivity. The conductivity is now a complex quantity. Real part of sigma is equal to sigma 0 by 1 plus omega square tau square, and imaginary part of sigma is equal to sigma 0 omega tau by 1 plus omega square tau square.
The real part represents the in-phase current which produces the resistive Joule heating, while the imaginary part represents the pi by 2 out-of-phase inductive current. An examination of real sigma and imaginary sigma as functions of the frequency shows that in the low frequency region omega tau is very less than 1 and imaginary of omega is very less than real of omega. That is, the electrons exhibit an essentially resistive character, since tau is approximately equal to 10 to the power minus 14 second. This spans the entire familiar frequency range up to the far infrared. In the high frequency region, omega tau is very greater than 1. However, which corresponds to the visible and ultraviolet regimes, the real part of the sigma is very less than the imaginary part of sigma, and the electrons display an essentially inductive character. No energy is absorbed from the field in this range and no Joule heating appears.
The dielectric function is then given by epsilon is equal to epsilon L minus 4 pi sigma 0 tau by 1 plus omega square tau square plus 4 pi I sigma 0 divided by omega into 1 plus omega square tau square. We consider now two frequency regions. The low frequency region omega tau is very less than 1. In this frequency range, we can neglect the real part of the dielectric constant and find that epsilon is equal to I into 4 pi sigma 0 by omega. Using equation, the complex index of refraction of the medium n is defined as n is equal to root over of epsilon, which is equal to n plus ik, where n is the usual refractive index and k is the extinction coefficient. We obtain n is equal to k is equal to L into m into epsilon by 2 root over, which is equal to 2 pi sigma 0 by omega root over. The inverse of the absorption coefficient sigma is equal to 2 by alpha, which is equal to c by omega k, is known as the skin depth. The intensity is equal to I0 into e to the power minus x by delta, and hence delta is a measure of the distance of penetration of the optical beam into the medium before the beam is dissipated. We can now evaluate the skin depth. Delta is equal to c by 2 pi sigma 0 omega to the power half. In practice, delta has a very small value. For copper, at omega is 10 to the power 7 second inverse, delta is equal to 100 micrometer, indicating that an optical beam incident on a metallic specimen penetrates only a short distance below the surface. The high frequency region omega tau is very greater than 1. This region covers the visible and ultraviolet ranges. Equation 43 shows that the dielectric constant is real and epsilon is equal to epsilon L minus 4 pi sigma 0 by omega square tau, which is equal to epsilon L into 1 minus omega p square by omega square, where omega p square is equal to 4 pi n e square by epsilon L into m. The frequency omega p is known as the plasma frequency. We can see from equation 47 that the high frequency region can now be divided into two sub-regions. In the sub-region, omega is less than omega p, epsilon is less than 0, and consequently from equation 44a, n is equal to 0. This leads to r is equal to 1, that is, the metal exhibits perfect reflectivity. In the higher sub-region, omega is greater than omega p and epsilon is greater than 0, and hence by similar reasoning k is equal to 0. In this range, therefore, alpha is equal to 0 and r lies between 0 and 1, and the metallic medium acts like a non-absorbing transparent dielectric, for example glass. Figure 3 illustrates the dependence of reflectivity on frequency, exhibiting the dramatic discontinuous drop in r at omega is equal to omega p, which has come to be known as the plasma reflection edge. The frequency omega p as seen from 48 is proportional to the electron density n. In metals, the densities are such that omega p falls into the high visible or ultraviolet range. Table 1 represents the reflection edges, that is plasma frequencies, and corresponding wavelengths for some metals. For example, for lithium, omega p is at around 1.22, which is highest, and for potassium and rubidium it lies around 0.5. Similarly, lambda p is equal to highest for rubidium 3400, and it decreases from rubidium to potassium to sodium to lithium, and which is around 1550 angstrom. The nature of this charge density wave, known as a plasma oscillation, can be understood in terms of a very simple model. Imagine displacing the entire electron gas as a whole through a distance u with respect to the fixed positive background of the ions, as shown in figure 4. The resulting surface charge gives rise to an electric field of magnitude E is equal to 4 pi sigma, where sigma is equal to n into E into mu is the charge per unit area at either end of the slab. This field tends to restore the electron distribution to equilibrium. The equation of motion of the electron gas as a whole is n into m into d square u by dt square is equal to minus 4 pi n square n into u, which leads to oscillation at the plasma frequency omega p square is equal to 4 pi n square divided by m.
So students, let us summarize what we have learned in this module. 1. Dependence. We saw the dependence of electric conductivity and dielectric constant on frequency. And second, we learned the free electron behavior in the presence of oscillating electric field and its relation with the plasma frequency. Thank you.